About 2 hours. You know how I am, so I'm gonna probably keep you for another 2 hours. Oh, okay. Just checking the time. So sorry. Yeah. Now I want this to actually be very, very brief, so everybody can have a seat now. Appreciate you. Do a little stretch. Do whatever you gotta do. You know, pull your underwear out your butt. You know, reach to the sky. Turn a little bit. I know you probably need to stretch a lot more than other people. Not too much though. You know how we do them shirts. So what's crazy about this is he contacted me last night. We actually talked about it at the managers meeting probably about 2 weeks ago, and he said that he was going to have somebody talk about their why, and he nominated me because I love talking about dreams and visions and goals and aspirations and what your why factor is. So before I get too preachy, I would like to have a couple of volunteers if possible. Just a couple of people that, 30 seconds or less. What is your why?
My wife. I mean, kind of like him, but I don't ever want to be in that position. So I fear that same thing.
Yeah.
She's never gone without. So.
Word. Love it. His wife. Who else?
My homie that just passed away. That's my why. It's just like a whole different process now because he had Lincoln Heritage and trusted in the process and me so much. Where when I go out, he's in my car. My other homie's in my car too. Where they're looking at me like, "Will, do what you do. This is what we do. We go help people." So that changed for me.
Love it. Maybe a couple of other people. What is your why?
I got a little boy on the other side of the country who needs a daddy. And the only way I can get there is through this vehicle. Provides not only the time and the financial ability to make those moves, but and when he comes here to visit, he's this whole big family. So that little boy deserves his dad.
That's strong. Anybody else? Come on, I know we got some strong whys out there, and if we don't, it's probably why I'm up here. A lot of people are familiar with my story. Going about 3 years ago, I was saying that my why were similar things. I thought it was my girl. I thought it was my soon-to-be wife. I thought it was my son. I thought it was my children. I thought it was, a better opportunity, a lifestyle, a car, a home. I thought it was opulence. I thought it was going to be all these things that sounded good, right? Sometimes I think we adopt other people's whys, right? It's pretty easy to be in this type of environment and see a Chad that just buys a $600,000 home in these cars and say, you know what? I want that too. That's my why. That's why I'm going to go out there and get it, right? 3 years ago, I realized that was all BS for me. I knew that upon self-reflection, I really wasn't in tune with my why. Because everything that we do at the end of the day is for two very, very basic human needs, right? The desire to get pain or the desire to get away or get closer to prosperity or something that you want, a desire, right? So to get away from pain or get closer to pleasure. That's everything that we do. I don't care what you're doing right now. Some of you may be like, man, I hope he ends in about 3 minutes because I got to get out of here. Some people may be like, oh man, I really, really hope he says something to turn me on, to ignite that thing that's inside of me because I know there's more. I know I have more to give. I know I have more to offer. And I'll invite you to really, really write down what is your why right now. As I'm talking, think about, okay, what is that thing that really gets me going? Am I where I really, truly want to be in my life right now? Right this moment, right this instant. And second to that, is this the vehicle, Lincoln Heritage, the Funeral Advantage Plan, ULA, the team that you're on, building a team, being an MIT, building your own agency, whatever it is that going to be what's going to get me closer to my why? I think the good book says that probably the best thing that you could possibly do in your life is reflect on your own and figure out who you are, right? That's the whole purpose of life, to figure out and become closer to who we were originally designed to be. In our essence, the minute that we were born perfect. We had absolutely nothing wrong with us, right? I think they say that the only two things that you feared were loud noises or falling. So a lot of us are in this room right now because we have been broke. We have been broken. We are in this opportunity trying to grow, trying to get to another level. trying to do more than we've ever done in our entire lives, but I ask you why? You know, it's kind of disheartening to volunteer the opportunity for people to profess and proclaim, why are you doing what you do on a daily basis? And there's hesitation. There's a room of stares. Now, maybe it's because you don't know your why, which is scary. Maybe it's because of your discomfort in actually professing what you want because you've been you've been stomped on. You've been trud through the mud. But I heard somebody once say that if I take $100 bill, right? If I take $100 bill, I'm sure you got one on you. Right now. I'll take a card, 20s. All right. I'll take the check, right? If I take $100 bill and I take it outside right now, and I stomp it in the mud, and I rub it through the dirt, and I take it through everything, and I just crumble it up, and I throw it to you at the end of the day, how much is it still worth? So when you were born as a $100 bill. And you've been through some shit. You've been through some things. But at the end of the day, you still are perfect. But you won't realize that until you get back to the source, until you get back to what that why factor is for you. 3.5 years ago, I realized that my children were not my why. My wife was not my why. The cars, the vehicles, even to this point, it was not my why. If you guys truly listen to this gentleman's story about a day and a half ago, I'm very keen on listening to how people's voice inflection is, because you can tell a lot about somebody from the way that they look, but more than anything, the way that they say what they say. If I ask you, are you having an amazing day? Oh, it's going okay. I know something may be wrong. You may be saying it's good, but it's probably not. But there was something he said, and I want you to catch what I'm saying here. He said, man, when Aaron told me that I had the opportunity to make money the very next day, I was excited because I was broke at that time. So when I came back to training the very next day, guess what? I brought him 4 applications. Man, you know what? That very next day, I got deposited $1,700 in my account. Now, the way he said that is completely different from the way he speaks about his income now. I don't know if anybody else caught that. Because when he says what he makes now, I make about $600K. But it's crazy because the $1,700 he made when he was desolate and out and had no opportunities and needed it more than anything else meant more to him. Whether he knew he was doing it or not, behind that story was a feeling that, oh my God, I can make it. There is hope. See, the thing I know about everybody in this room is everything that $1,000 contest, nobody's going to run for that. Unfortunately, nobody at this moment came into this meeting thinking, I cannot wait to leave because that $600K, ULA has to get that because I got to get that $1,000 so I can do this. And if you did, please raise your hand right now. I'll wait. I put up a contest last month, $2,500. Guys, we hit this number at the end of the month, $2,500. I'll give it to you cold, hard cash. Now, nothing against my guys because I love them to life. They know I would do anything for them. But do you think anybody ran towards that $2,500? Absolutely not. We got people in the room that do $20,000 every single month. We got people that do $10,000 every single month. Why are you doing that? I get a chance to speak to a lot of the managers sometimes, and they reach out to me, and I'm humbled by that because I was in the same position, and I actually look up to these guys that reach out to me. And they say, you know what, Damon, I just want a $100,000 team. Why? Why? Damon, I want to do $20,000 a month. Why? Well, do you even know what that's going to give you in income each month? Why? What do you want? What do you really, really want? Because what if I told you today that the minute you can figure out what not only your why factor is, but why you want that, you can have anything in your life? Would you guys believe me? Would you believe me? Probably not. I appreciate that. Because you can.
I believe you.
There we go. Yeah, thank you. Yes. You can have whatever you want if you figure out why you're after it. You want to know my why? I heard a gentleman, and I encourage you, if you guys don't have a personal development regimen where you're getting into books and you're getting into publications, you know, what's great about having the story of a Chad or a Teeth or a Remco or these incredible leaders is that we get a chance to see the end result before we even begin the game. We get a chance to see, oh, okay, if God is no respecter of person, then I can do exactly what this gentleman did, and I'll have exactly what he had. What a beautiful gift. Well, guess what? Books do the same exact thing. It's somebody that poured their entire life experience into a matter of 200, 300 pages. But unfortunately, a lot of us are too lazy to invest in our own intellect. I was reading a book. Or too proud. Humility. Not a personality trait, just simply recognizing you don't have something. I was reading a book. Actually, it was an audio, and the gentleman was talking about his why. And I want you to write this down if you are taking notes. He was talking about his why, and I shared this with Mike Benoit. I think it was a paradigm shift for him a few years ago, but he said, you know, when you ask somebody what their why is, they will typically give you a knee-jerk reaction. Hey, what's your why? Oh, it's my kids. Hey, what's your why? It's my wife. Hey, what's your why? It's XYZ, right? That's the thought that's in their head. That's something they've repeated over and over and over when their manager came to them and said, hey, listen, I know your goal is this month. Why are you going for that? Oh, man, I really need this. But they never truly thought about where that comes from. Can we all agree on at least this one point? If we get down to the root of what we really want in life, is it not just to be happy? I talked to this gentleman a little bit earlier today, and he spent about 10, and he probably could have spent 3 hours talking about one of his greatest gifts, his son. Lit up, man, my boy's going to be doing this, and he's working with this, and I haven't seen him smile probably in the last few months, right? Very stern face, very serious, very strong guy. But boy, when he talked about his little boy, almost brought me to tears, right? Because he's happy, that brings him joy. What makes you happy is what your why is. That's your why. So if I ask you right now, hey, what is your why? I'm sure, let's go ahead and go with your wife. I want you to ask yourself again and spend some time with yourself. And everybody's going to need a box of tissues once you actually go through this process, because I promise it will break you down. And you go to that second layer and you say, okay, well, why is my wife my why? Well, my wife's my why because she means absolutely everything to me. She's my queen. I mean, she does everything for me, and she deserves the very best. Why? Well, why is her expectation of having the very best so important to you? Well, it's so important to me because you know what? I don't want to disappoint her for any reason. You know, I had experiences earlier in life that, you know, my mom didn't always get what she wanted. And, okay, well, why is your mom so important to you? Well, my mom's so important, man, because I saw her struggle for so many years, and I wasn't too happy about her going through the things that she was. And as I'm talking, I'm kind of giving my story. I'm about to cry, but I'm not going to go there. People don't sound good when they cry. You know what I'm saying? People don't sound good when they cry. So you know, my mom, she went through so many things when I was younger. She was working 3 different jobs, and she was still trying to provide for myself and my 2 sisters, and she was going through physical and mental abuse in my household, and that's why she's my queen, and I see my mother and my wife, and that's why I have to have her as my why, right? Okay, well, when you were younger, what made you so moved by what your mom was experiencing? Man, because I just felt helpless, right? Because I felt helpless. I didn't know what to do. I wasn't a man yet. I couldn't provide the way that I wanted to, the way I thought, and my dad, who was not there, needed to be doing. Okay, so now you get into that deep layer, and now you know, okay, what I really want is to be in control. I want to be self-sufficient. I want to be able to take care of my family the way that my father should have, the way that I wanted to as a boy. I want to be able to do that for my family. Do you see what just happened there? When you figure that out, he don't got to put up no damn contest for me. He hasn't had to call me in 2.5 years. Nobody has to wake me up in the morning to do what I do every single day. And they never will. Because the farther I can get away from the pain of knowing that my mom was going through what she was going through, and that my wife now probably experienced the same things, is my why. And because of that, the cars will come, the homes will come, the experiences with incredible people around me. My ability to tell you all my testimony will come. When you get that serious about your why, I'm going to leave you with a story, and I'm sure you guys heard it before. There was a young man, probably her age, and he was with his friend. It was the dead of winter. They were playing at a pond. They were having fun just as anybody else would have fun as kids, you know. Of course, there were signs around that said, please, do not step on the ice. But they were playing as kids do. They had never seen anybody fall in, so they were having an incredible time, right? They were playing and they were laughing and they were playing tag and they were running across the water and they were having a good old time. Just being kids. All of a sudden the ice breaks. One of the kids falls into the pond. The other friend, he's panicking, frantically. Oh my God, and he sees his friend floating into the water and he's getting deeper and deeper and the ice is too thick and he can't break it with his hands. He can't do anything. I don't know what to do. Somebody please help me. My friend, somebody please help. A few minutes later, the authorities come. They come to a scene. They see a huge branch on one side of the pond, huge branch. They see a young boy holding his friend. His friend is gasping for air. And the authorities are confused, right? They're looking around. Okay, this doesn't make any sense. First of all, we see where he went in. We see where his friend got him out. We see this branch. They're looking around for an adult. They're looking around for somebody that could have possibly helped this little boy get out. Who did it? There's no way. There's no way that this little boy, her size, took a branch of that stature, broke the ice, and rescued his friend. There's no way. How? They were confused. They had no idea. They couldn't explain it. The little boy's crying hysterically. He can't even make words. So they look around and they finally see a homeless man. They see a homeless man sitting on the side. And they walk up to the homeless man. He said, you know what? I'll tell you how he did it. I saw the whole thing. The homeless man said, there was nobody standing around telling him that he couldn't do it. Your environment is so much more powerful than your willpower. I encourage you, if you have anybody in your life that is telling you you can't, you don't, you will not have your why, remove them from your life. Recognition is huge. I think I saw more people light up from being recognized by Chad and the other leaders than they did when he proclaimed a $1,000 award. Men die for it, babies cry for it. But what is your why? I encourage you that once you figure out what your why is, you'll be unstoppable. I love you all.